It's Gab, and I'm reviewing Interstellar. Do I really need to tell you what Interstellar is? Interstellar is the new sci-fi drama spectacle from Christopher Nolan. Do I really need to tell you who Christopher Nolan is? No. Batman trilogy, Inception, one of my favorites. I love Christopher Nolan. I was really anticipating this film, as many people were, for the spectacle, but also the deeper philosophical meaning and life-saving, life-affirming, life and death of it all. Who doesn't love that sort of thing? And Interstellar, boy, does it deliver. It's about a former NASA pilot, Matthew McConaughey, who's widowed and has 2 children and is farming, and it's an Earth, perhaps present time, near future, that because of climate change is practically desolate. Hardly anything can grow, and the future of humankind is not at risk. It's basically known that they're living on borrowed time, so to speak, and the Earth is becoming inhabitable. There are dust storms of increased frequency and intensity that are just sort of suffocating humanity, and they're trying to go about somewhat normal lives, but it's this threat of extinction is sort of hanging over them all. So things transpire that NASA has a plan, somewhat spearheaded by Michael Caine's character and some other scientists, including Anne Hathaway, to leave Earth based on some somewhat questionable information that there is a wormhole and a conduit to other worlds, other galaxies that, if explored, there might be a new home for humans for their second chance. So that's all. Pretty simple story, right? So okay, there's a lot there. There's the sci-fi element, which is there's elements of a lot of stuff that we've seen before, story elements and visuals, and yet it's just on such a Christopher Nolan scale. You've got to see this film in IMAX. It's huge, and as soon as they leave Earth, the visuals and the spectacles and the situations are just really breathtaking, captivating. The situations that the astronauts get into, life or death for them, but also everything attached to everything they do is life or death for mankind. And I have to tell you, I was on the edge of my seat for so many of the sequences, literally on the edge of my seat, or holding my breath, or gripping my hands. There's so many exciting sequences here. Reminded me of Gravity, but maybe even more so than the film Gravity, in terms of just sort of the intensity of the action and the excitement. And so just a lot of that, beautifully shot, wonderfully enhanced by the score of Hans Zimmer, of course, where you're just sort of enveloped in this adventure. And again, as I say, with the mankind and philosophical stakes attached to it, it just sort of envelops you, and you're carried away by it. So I loved that aspect of it. And intercut with what's going on in space is what's going on Earth. And I think it was done quite successfully. Sometimes it feels a bit awkward, but sometimes it's done very interestingly, the way it's sort of juxtaposed or ties in together with what's going on in space, what's going on Earth. There's different relative time spans going on in space versus Earth, and it was really intelligently combined, I think, more or less. When Matthew McConaughey's character makes the transition from his Earth life and then takes off on this voyage, I found that quite awkward. It was just so all of a sudden, like, here's the plan, we're going to throw this guy in the ship, and off they go to save the world. Not that I wanted a training montage or something like that, but that seemed very forced to me, and that threw me off a little bit. My other critique would be that, although I described to you that the Earth and mankind is under threat and impending extinction, that is suggested. There's not a lot of exposition, which again I appreciate, and yet I didn't feel the full weight of that threat. They only really show this one family, this one town. When they're in space and they look at Earth, they actually say, oh, the Earth doesn't look dusty. You can't see the dust. It looks beautiful from space. So it affected for me a bit the weight of, oh my God, Earth is in peril, this is it. Characters kept referring to this, but I didn't entirely feel that, which does affect the weightiness of the story a bit, but I didn't ponder that. I didn't let that linger in my mind too much, because again, you're just swept up in the adventure and the spectacle. Some of it, another critique, pushes it a little bit much. The swelling of the music, some of the dialogue, and some of the hitting over the head of some of the more philosophical points. The use of the poem, Dylan Thomas' poem, Rage Against the Dying of the Light. Just a bit too heavy-handed and on the nose sometimes. But again, I sort of give that a pass, because you just have to let yourself go with this whole ride, and I really did obviously go with it. The performances are great, especially from some of my not favorite actors. I'm not a fan of Anne Hathaway, liked her here. Really solid cast, nice, fun, interesting turn by Matt Damon, of course Michael Caine, so you've got all the Christopher Nolan trimmings, and you've just got to see it in IMAX on the big screen. I can't wait to see it again, because I really want to digest it. As I say, the first time I was swept along, and I almost felt wrung out afterwards in a very satisfying way. And this time I really want to digest it. Like Inception, I wanted to see it again very soon after the first time I saw it, so that I could process it on another level. And this film is worth doing that for sure. It's very, it's got a lot to offer, many layers, even just as a sci-fi spectacle. It's going to deliver for you fans of sci-fi and of Christopher Nolan, and it's going to be one of those ones I think is going to really be enjoyed, if not treasured, by a lot of film fans. I loved Interstellar, and as I say, I can't wait to see it again and process again. Maybe I'll be more critical the next time, but it's one of those films that I want to suspend my critical faculties a little bit, just because of the cinematic experience of it, and the joy of that. So obviously recommending Interstellar. Please see it on the big screen, and I give it 4.5 gabs. Thanks for watching.